Peace, 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 everybody. It's the guy with the bow tie checking in with you live for another edition of Business Benefits. We had to do a little free your mind because we have Queen Mesha Mebane in the building. How you doing, Queen?
I'm good. How are you, Daryl?
Good. I thought it was appropriate since you're all about mindset to have Free Your Mind, a classic and Vogue song there. So thank you for jumping on here. I want to say thank you to hashtag Team Live, hashtag Team Replay. However you consume the content, we appreciate it. Please let us know in the comments below with my YouTube fingers there. Mesha and I met a while ago on LinkedIn by supporting other professionals on LinkedIn. So quick plug, if you support people on LinkedIn, never know where it goes because we met a long time ago supporting other people's content. But for the people that don't know who you are, Mesha, let us know who you are and your gift for the world.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? I'm Mesha. I am the CEO of Infrared Vision, LLC. And I'm glad to be here today and just looking forward to this interview with Daryl. I am a fan of Daryl. When he started dropping those beats, I'm just in the background bopping my head, you know?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Queen. And I was going to say thank you to our sponsor, StreamYard, for sponsoring the show. And we got some comments coming in here already. Let's kind of show the audience that they know they're here. Friend of you and I is Diana Parker, representing in Florida. Thank you for representing, Queen.
Hey, Diana.
We have somebody that's their security bug. Who is this? That is Joseph Taylor. He used to be Team Replay, so he made himself known before he gets to replay it. So thank you for that. Alan Scott, also a friend of ours. Go get him, Mesha.
Hey, Marlon.
And Senor Payasada. Senor Payasada said, hashtag support, never know where it link goes. I love that hashtag.
That is so true. So true.
Jacqueline Charles, representing the Women Are Worthy show. If you guys haven't seen the Women Are Worthy show or heard it, it's a great radio show. Definitely check out Jacqueline Charles. She's here in Georgia, but definitely check out her content. She actually said, I'm here. So thank you, Jacqueline, for jumping in. So, Mesha, you have an interesting business that's very relevant, I think, nowadays. So, infrared vision. First of all, I thought infrared spelled a different way before you, so I didn't realize the spelling until I was like, wait, I can't get to her website. I was spelling infra instead of infrared. So I appreciate you teaching me that. But
hey, I'm humbly. I tell people all the time, you know, you got to be patient with me. I'm humbly dyslexic since birth, so I have to work on it every single day. Thank God
you taught me something though, so thank you.
Yes. But I'm happy about it now. I have a talent where I'm just like, you know, I struggle with it. I let people know my weaknesses and my strengths. My strengths are speaking, so thank God he gave me that. You know what I'm saying?
So we're going to talk about existing versus living. But before we get too deep into that, what is infrared vision in this?
Well, Infrared Vision is a mentoring coaching company designed for the 40 plus community to help them redefine, rebuild, and restore. How this came about, Daryl, is when I was 43, I had much life adversity that challenged my mindset in a way where I was really just stuck. I mean, when I say stuck, I was stuck. And I just didn't have the wherewithal to go out and seek someone to help me with these issues after a loss of a child, my one and only child back then, and also after a divorce, which it all hit me at the same time. So,
we lost Mesha. She'll be right back. Hold on, guys. Of course, in the good part, the internet kicks out. Mesha will wait for you in a second, but the interesting thing for that story is I know there's some women here watching this. They're in the 40 plus community. So Mesha's rebuilt herself. So I love this story because it's something that's relevant for a lot of women, unfortunately, that this happens where they had to rebuild their lives. So Mesha's going to come back here in a second. But while we're waiting for her, we had Jacqueline said 40 and fabulous. So we had a 40 fabulous comment. There we go. Mesha's back. Gotta love the internet drop, people. I picked up for you little song and dance, but pick up where you left off. You mentioned having the loss of a child and a divorce at the same time. What did that make you realize when that happened?
What it made me realize is that, you know, in your mindset, there are life adversity things that past the age of 40 that can happen to you. And you could basically get stuck in your mindset and not know which way to go. You know, I've talked to a lot of women before infrared vision was formed. I did a study group for about 5 years, and the ages of the study group was anywhere from 35 to 75. And the
Okay.
common denominator was is that through the life adversity, there's some place in your 20s and your 30s where you have everything moving and flowing the way you want. And then past when real life starts to hit after marriage and kids, then you start to wonder, what is my next? What is going on? Especially after life adversity of divorce, loss of children, empty nesters, things of that nature. What is my next? What is going on here? So
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like that was an area that still needs to be addressed, and also putting your vision forth after the age of 40 still. It seems like we jumpstart when we're 20, in our 20s and 30s, but there's something that happens as a slowdown process that I've learned from other people during the study group after the age of 40.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting because definitely by that point you kind of have your stride in the career, or at least you know something that's a skill set or so. We even had Diana saying, "I'm digging the stylish glasses." So you must have, being 40 plus, learned about some stylish glasses.
Thanks, Diana.
But existing versus living, as a coach that's helping people kind of get this concept, what is the difference in existing versus living?
Well, back before I was 40, I would say that in my lifestyle, for me personally, I'm my own perfect avatar. It just seems as though I've always been in sales, right? But it just
Mm-hmm.
seems as though that I took jobs, just took jobs just to be existing, meaning whatever the job came next, whatever that next is, I was just doing it for the purpose of paying the bills. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to really just look at your career and figure out what is it that you want to do in order to pay the bills, but are you really happy with what you're doing? So for me in my past, because I'd always been in sales, I just pretty much took jobs after a few layoffs or whatever the case may be to basically pay the bills, but I wasn't really happy with operating in that process or in that position. So it's not just the job, but just whatever my lifestyle that I was going through, whatever was happening there, that I felt like I was just existing.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last 5 years, I have focused on what is it really going to take for Misha to shift in her mindset to get me over to living. And part of that was just quitting a day job, period.
Mm-hmm.
My last day job was in February 2015, and I just said goodbye. And part of that, yes, I packed up the box and left out the back door. I just decided that I needed to change for my personality. I am a free flowing person. I just want to be free. I don't want nothing to box me in, not even in my
Mm-hmm.
thinking. I want to be free. So part of that was just quitting a day job and moving away from that existing unhappy place wherever I was working and jumping into entrepreneurship, which is in my personality. It's helping me be happy and makes me feel like I'm living because I'm in control of my own destiny.
So I'm glad you mentioned something you mentioned for your personality, the entrepreneurship part, because some people I think they'll see a coaching personality, think everybody should be an entrepreneur. So do you think in your coaching that everybody 40 plus, okay, you're shaking your head already, but break that down with somebody because 40 plus, that could be harder sometimes to make that shift. So everybody
No,
shouldn't be an entrepreneur, right?
no. Infrared vision, all right, is dealing with what's in the red for you. And I'm actually currently getting that trademarked, all right? Because it's not about taking an individual if you're unhappy with a career, whatever the case may be. All right, my situation is I want you to understand what's in your mindset in terms of, are you operating from a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? Before I was 40, I was pretty much operating with a fixed mindset because I'm not knocking the people that I was hanging around, but a lot of the people that I was hanging around, you have to pay attention of who you're hanging with, was operating from a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset says, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm just not being adaptable to whatever's going on around me in my environment. You're being presented with opportunities, but fixed mindset people believe they've always done it that way and they're always going to do it that way. Well, I used to be that way and I got tired of myself. So the situation is when you're addressing it in your career, you have to understand what mindset am I operating from a fixed or a growth. And when you convert over to a growth mindset, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it from a perspective where you're going to become an entrepreneur. It just means you need to find what's in the red for you. What is it that you want
Hmm.
to become? What is it you want to become? If you have an opportunity, and I come from word perspective, Daryl, in the word, it says, greater are your latter days than your first, right? So if God meant for you, for your greater are your latter days to be in your first, then whatever you've done before in your early days, you have an opportunity to redefine yourself, rebuild yourself, and restore, just like my tagline says. And reinvent yourself to something over the age of 40. And that doesn't necessarily mean to go into entrepreneurship, but find
Hmm.
something that you're going to work at and become happy with.
Yeah, that's important because I think the thing I like about coaches versus therapy is that you've actually been through something and say, "Hey, I did that. Don't do this." Because therapy is a great place for people, but the coach is like, "I've been there. I've been on this journey. This is what I did." So, do you think everything that happened to you up until this point is really what made this infrared vision so powerful for you?
Yes, because I used to be a person, I never hide my weaknesses from anyone. I used to be a person that used to have low self esteem, lack of confidence in what I was doing, until I humbled myself because the greatest person that made the transition in my life were people that were able to feed into me of the things that I could not see. And I think when we get older, I always say, and please, I don't want to offend anybody, but I have to keep it real. And anyone that's talked to me on a one-on-one basis, they know that I'm going to say exactly what's on my mind. And what's exactly on my mind right now is that I'm not trying to deal with the people that feel that they're so such a muchy. I was told in a download from God for infrared vision that I am to get to the people that they feel like they just don't know what their next is. They have broken pieces of them like I used to be, and they
Hmm.
don't know how to pick up all the pieces and putting it back together. And they need to have an infrared vision about what their next is and have to have someone that cares and that is a guide to help them get to their next.
I'm glad we had this happen because when you and I first met, I wasn't quite 40 plus, so now I'm officially in the 40 plus club. So this is appropriate timing now. Um, but as you're going through this journey and these people, just the mindset's such a big issue. It's really difficult for a lot of people. What would you say is the hardest thing when you deal with the specifically 40 plus community versus say the 20 and 30 girls? What's the biggest hurdle you face usually?
Well, when you're 20 and 30, you seem to have a zest for knowledge. You seem to want to be able to figure out things that are going to make you happy. You know how you were when you're 18, 19, and 20. You're just trying to figure it out, put it together. What are you going to do? Are you going to college? Are you going, what is your next? What is my skills? What am I about to do to form to go into my 30s? And then in your 30s, you feel like you have built something, you built a foundation, but something happens in our 40s. I just had a call from somebody the other day inquiring about infrared vision. And she said, Misha, I am about to be 40 next Friday. And there's something about 40 that I just don't know where I'm going. And not only where she's going, but what absolutely is going to make her happy. And I just talked about this in my last podcast with DJ Moultrie, is that we are not talking about happiness lately. And we need to
Hmm.
be talking about what is making us happy in our latter days. Again, I go off the principle if greater are your latter days than your first, then what does that mean for you? How can your latter days be greater if you're not preparing for them? And that means in your mindset and your financial world, whatever you're living, whatever air you're breathing every day to make you in the mirror happier with yourself.
Hit them reactions for that. that's a T-shirt if I ever heard one there. Well, Mesha, but this is important, I think, just because, like you mentioned, happiness. You see, mostly coaching is either the college kids or like 50, 60. These usually kind of like a high, developing mindset people. 40, like you mentioned, that transition. The kids are just leaving the house or getting older in nature. So when it comes to your business, COVID happened. COVID changed things, obviously. It made business a little differently. Do you think, being that you're in that 40 plus community, now that we're more technological and data driven, that it's helped your business with that community, or kind of kept it like in the same place?
Well, I will say this, anyone who's 40 plus like me, like for instance, I just started infrared vision 3 years ago, and I'll be 55 next month. So I know that there's a lot of people that are out there right now that has that idea that's inside of them. I guarantee it. And but something about the thought around your age or aging, I'm going to dispel that myth. You can still, and I'll look directly in the camera, you can still complete that. You have to dispel that mindset that it's too late. I'll tell you why I say that. 3 years ago, I was at a coffee shop, and a girlfriend from the church came in, and I was scared about quitting my day job, right? I was independent contractor for a pharma company on the side and also working a day job. And she comes in and she sees my long face. She goes, "Hey, don't I know you from church?" And I was like, "Yes." And she says, "Why the long face?" I said, "Well, I am 52 and I'm thinking about quitting my day job. And I'm doing very well on my side kick right here of the pharma world. And I just feel like I'm a late bloomer." And she sat down at the table for a quick second and she said to me, "Why do you feel that way?" And I said, "I just feel like I'm a late bloomer. Why is it that whatever I'm doing now, I couldn't have been doing a decade ago or so?" And she says, "Look, Mita, I'm here to tell you, and I'm going to look you right in your eye. Did you ever think that maybe in your mindset and your level of maturity that you just might be right on time?" And Daryl, that freed me up so much that next week I went to that job and I packed my box and I went out the back door, and I haven't looked back since. So I want to tell the people today, whatever you are manifesting in your heart and in your mindset, whatever is in the red for you, don't think because you are over 40 that it's too late. Maybe you couldn't handle it in your 20s. Maybe you couldn't handle it in your 30s, but there's something about life adversity. If you survive it, you can develop the mindset and turn it around and have the strength, knowledge, and maturity to handle it today.
Ooh, you brought it right there. That's something that I beat myself about sometimes. Like, it's not starting what I'm doing now earlier. But I think you're right to the degree of maybe I wasn't mature enough, ready, and that's definitely part of the journey. So everybody take heed to that, because that's a big issue. You see the 20-year-old that's starting a business, and you're like, why didn't I start when I was 20? But obviously things weren't right at the time. The timing wasn't right. Your mindset wasn't right. So I'm glad you said that. Putting a comment up here that we had earlier. I want to make sure we show. Hold on. Jacqueline said, when you live, you're in the present. So would you say existing is more future casting than just being right in the moment?
I would say existing is a part of a mindset and is a part of stagnation. Existing
Mm,
means that you really don't have a definition of your vision. And I believe that over age of 40, you should always constantly start your year with a vision. And I'm not even going to start planning goals, but you should definitely start your year with a new vision. The word new, I wrote this down because I wanted to tell it to the people. The word new should not just be in new clothes, new car, new house. The word new should always also follow in the way that you think every single
mm.
day. You should put something new in your brain on a daily basis to move you forward towards whatever purpose and goal that you want to move to. And also tell the people, stop comparing yourself to somebody else. I want people through infrared to come to me and say, "Mesha, I want to start customizing my life to me, to my skill set, to my mindset, or whatever the case may be. I get so tired of hearing different people trying to measure up to something else. If that something else was is not for you, stop trying. I equate it to the fact that I love facing the beach when I go on vacation. Anyone who knows me knows I love to face the water, but I'm not going to get in the water. But if you ever watch the motion of the water, right, Daryl,
Hmm.
if it's going, the waves are going in this direction. I see it in my head that a lot of people are trying to go this in the opposite direction. And if you're going in the opposite direction of the actual flow of the water, you are just fighting against your own self to get to the end place, whatever your vision is. You should just surrender and go in this direction. Stop trying to follow other people. You have to follow your life at your pace and do whatever it is to make you happy. I'm going to tell you something right now. I am so glad to be at this place at the age of 54.5, 55 next month, where I can absolutely look in the camera and tell people that I'm designing my life in a way that I'm happy. I'm not worried about I like you, Daryl, but I'm not worried about what you're doing for me to match up against your lifestyle. I'm worried about what I'm
Right.
doing to match up against my lifestyle.
That makes sense, definitely. And I wonder, like, some people don't. I don't know if you had a mentor to give you that, or a teacher, or a parent. Like, where do you think was it your experience that gave you that, or more so a person? Like you mentioned, a woman at the when you were sitting down that saw the long face. Was it more so people poured into you outside of your family, or more of your direct family kind of gave you that mindset?
No one in my family gave me that mindset.
Okay, now, it's good to share that because some people think like sometimes some people are given a fortunate situation where their family does talk about that a lot and they give work on your mind, read some books, do some mindset things, but some people don't. So would you say most of
I,
your clients
I,
don't
love
have
my,
that?
I love my family. However, they are more of, I hope they're not listening, but they are more of a boxed in thinking type format. You understand? I've always just been a free spirit, even when I left home at the age of 17 to live on my own. I've always been of a free spirit and follow my heart, follow your vision. I love people to death, but I actually don't like to hang around a lot of people that kind of think so boxed in to whereas it just takes a smile and a spirit out of themselves. Actually, I
Hmm.
started developing this kind of mindset over the age of 40 because after the adversity that I had of losing a child in the divorce, I just start looking inward and saying, what is your next? Because I am from Ohio. So I was like, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm getting up out of here. And I was led, yes, I was led to move, got a reload to Maryland, which absolutely challenged me because if I'm just a small town country girl from Ohio, I picked up and
Hmm.
moved to a life with boldness because I had never lived in a big city. But now I'm a big city girl in the DMV area and very happy about it because I had to step up my pace, step up my knowledge, and step up a lot of things to be able to survive here because the cost of living and everything is much higher than it was in Ohio.
Yeah, shout out to DMV. My family's in Virginia, so I know that area well.
Woo!
Well, so that change is just COVID's obviously changed a lot. There's probably some people watching this that they were working in a career that got downsized, or in a business that just couldn't survive the pandemic, or whatever issue happened. So I'm sure you've seen a lot of clientele going through that are reaching out like, "Hey, my company shut down, my job was eliminated, whatever." For the people that are going through that, what would you say is the one driving force they can kind of focus on or think about to help them get through that transition to get to that next you speak about?
The next comes from just really just going inward. I remember the day where I said to myself about 10 years ago, where I kind of knew 10 years ago in my 40s that I didn't want to work for somebody for the rest of my life. So I'm not promoting entrepreneurship for everyone, but I do want to promote the fact that everyone should take a look at their resume and see what things have you done consistently very well over the years and take a look at that. And you need to highlight those things and bring those things forth to find out. Like, for instance, for me, I had always been in sales. So basically, I took a look at my resume and then I start looking at the jobs that I had before I became an entrepreneur and start looking at what I made, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses. And I turned that around to the fact that I realized that every time I would work a sales job, and salespeople know, there was some sneaky little algorithm where you would be making all this money for the company, but for some reason your commission checks were small. So basically, I looked at that and I said, if I'm making this company, I'll give you an example of the X one that I quit. If I'm making them on an average of 500,000 to $1 million a year, why can't I just quit this job, contract myself out to somebody, and they make them over $1 million a year, and I write my own percentage, and that's exactly what I did. So I'm just asking the people that if you have something that you're really good at, either one, go get the job that you want that's going to make you happy, or number two, look at your resume and take that string and turn it around for your good and work it out. And I guarantee you, you will probably find happiness along the way somewhere. And also, if you're working a job that you don't like, kind of look
Mm.
at that maybe you can do on the sideline and bring in more streams of income. I actually have three streams of income right now. So, and I'm happy about all of them. One is high maintenance, one is medium maintenance, and one is very low.
I like you working on that residual income. And that's what Tandra Price, the networking specialist for blackowned.com, she said good tips. So you got some good insight from her. And then Diana said, yes,
You want to
Misha,
know my streams
inward.
of income? If you like, I'll share the streams of income. I'm an open book for your learning.
Hey, if y'all want to hear about it, I'll leave that for the audience to comment real quick. Let us know if you want to know the streams of not content, streams of income. I'm over here talking about content too much, but audience, let us know if you want to hear about that. I wanted to take a quick turn as you learn that about yourself. A big issue I feel like happening is everybody keeps pushing entrepreneurship for people. So let's talk about the folks that don't want to be an entrepreneur. They're fine with corporate. They want to work their job. What do they do if they're basically saying that they're in a stuck position, a fixed position? What do they do in that situation where they're in a career that they like, but it's not quite fulfilling everything for them?
Again, infrared vision, the name infrared vision was no mistake. I'll tell you how I came about the name of infrared vision. On the job that I quit before I quit last time, and I realized that I could actually go out and do this or what have you, the president of the company made us make a vision board. If we didn't have a vision board on our desk, when he would walk past, we would get fired or called into the office and say, hey, this is a company thing. Why don't you have your vision board on your desk? So
Mm,
my thing is that you constantly have to have, whether it's on paper, sticky notes, or some kind of picture somewhere. If you're on a job and you want to actually transition or whatever it is when you're looking and evaluating, you have to have a vision right in front of you of exactly where you want it, what you want to do, and where you want to go. You cannot operate from nothing. Uh, Daryl, I asked Siri one day, Siri, what's zero minus zero? You know, she called me stupid. When you, I'm trying to make a joke here, but the truth is that you have to put in a start destination with Siri and an end
yeah,
destination and figure out the in between. So people that are on a job trying to figure out what their next is, or if they're in a stuck job, you really have to go inward and find out exactly what are you really good at. And you have to leave the product of comparing yourself to other people totally
yeah.
out the picture. Totally out the picture.
That's a big problem. I feel like social media has helped make worse in some regards, but it's helped because we have things like this to learn. And then Tandra actually said to share them. So this is a good segue for the people stuck and they don't know where they're going. She wanted to share the streams of income, so maybe somebody else can be inspired to figure out their next step.
Right. So again, I want people to stop looking to the left and to the right to the next person and comparing themselves to other people. What infrared vision is all about is for you to look inward and customize exactly what is right for you. You're not everybody else. Not everybody's going to be a Kardashian and Kylie or whatever and create a lip kit and then click on a button and boom, you're a billionaire. I think that's what the world is telling us things in a way that is screwing up our mindsets. And we have to step back from that and come down from reality. On one of my podcast interviews recently, I said we are so busy trying to plateau from an
Mm-hmm.
unrealistic level, right? To get to the next level, you have to plateau from what reality is for you and go
Yeah.
through the process to get to your next. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense definitely because you can't plateau a level you're not at. So people are trying to plateau at being a billionaire when they're barely a thousandaire. So that that definitely makes sense. I wanted to break down real quick what Tandra was asking the streams of income. If you can briefly touch on those, so people can kind of learn what you're doing, or if they want to kind of follow in suit with what you got going on.
Right. So, again, three streams of income, anyone can actually have whatever, how many streams of income. I'm a simple person, so I stop at three. But basically, of course, whatever I'm doing I have contracts with inside my
Mm,
business, right? So that's one. And then two, I have infrared vision. That's number two. And then number three, I actually do platforms like Poshmark and things of that nature where you can load all kinds of products on and sell
okay.
them. I actually make money while I sleep on all three of them. But it is an opportunity for it. Also, when you have these streams of income, I also want you to have a plan, which is I
Yeah.
basically want to get on here to say today. If you have three streams of income, make one where it pays the bills, right? Make number two where it feeds your retirement, which don't get me started on that, Daryl, but I wish you would go there with me because I'm very passionate about that. And number three, make the other one where it could possibly help you out in your savings as well. I always want to have a plan if you're going to have multiple streams of income.
There you go. So Chandra, she broke it down to help people out learning. We got some reaction light in the screen up. So thank you people for having those comments and reactions. So Misha, I want to make sure somebody that's watching this, listening on the replay, live, whatever, they might be about to turn 40. They are 40. They're past 40 by a decade or so. What is the driving message you want to say to help them understand that existing versus living?
Well, as you age, again, you constantly need to have a vision placed before you, right? We don't want you walking around woulda, coulda, shoulda. That's how I'm trying to live my life. I'm not walking around with woulda, coulda, shoulda. For instance, I encouraged one of my girlfriends about 3 years ago. She was 68 at the time. So she comes to me with a long face and she says to me, I said, why do you have a long face? She says, well, I just retired and I'm not happy. I said, well, why aren't you happy? Didn't you want to go and work for all these years to come to retirement? And she said, yes. However, I'm bored now. I said, so we started looking into her past together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And found a file, Daryl, from 20 years ago where she always wanted to become a bookkeeper. Well, guess what? I mentored her to become a bookkeeper. Not only has she been my bookkeeper for the last 3 years, and she's now 70, but she has
Oh,
started her business and taken on more clients. And she is happy that I have helped her pull that out from 20 years ago and brought it forth at the age of 70. That's my point is if you have something in desired inside of you, please don't let your age be a stopping point for that. And number two, I have another girlfriend who's 58. And at the age of 58, she's now 60, right? She had it
mm-hmm.
in her mindset that she was too old to buy a house. I said, who told you that? She was like, I don't know where I got that from. I said, who told you that you were too old to buy a house? Well, I thought this. I said, that thought is a fallacy. That is not the truth. So she bought a house a year later and she just called me an hour ago. She said, because of the way you helped me change my mindset, not only am I achieving the things I want to achieve, but she's also jumping out of airplanes at the age of 68.
I
And
love it.
she's also kayaking, and she's doing so many different things. So growth, I want to make this point, then I'll shut up. Growth
No, you're
doesn't
good.
growth doesn't necessarily just happen in monetary, but it happens in the way that you think, and it happens in the way that you allow yourself to be yourself and free yourself to do the things that you always want. That's how growth comes about.
You made me want to jump out of a plane again. My wife and I did that in Vegas. I recommend everybody does that at least one time, please. Everybody should do that at least once. So, Misha, thanks for bringing that up. Well, this has been a pleasure. I know you had an offer. We got to people watching this or something you want to share with the audience. So let us know what you're hearing.
My offer is that Infrared Vision is in the process. We are a new business, and we are in the process of building community. And I would like you to join me every month. You can go out to www.infraredvision.org to our events page and join me for the free Tea Talks with Misha every single month. I want to see your face on the Tea Talks. We are talking about different things that are in regards to the aging community. I want to help you change your mindset. I want to help dig in and mentor you in such a way where you might feel in the areas of being stuck, especially around finances, retirement, or whatever. But I want you to come. I plan on holding 100 sessions. I think I'm at session 5 right now. And I just want you to be a part of our community, and you'll never be charged, and you won't be sold unless you want to be sold. Now, I'm good at that, so be careful. But we absolutely would love to have you in the community.
That just means you're good at educating. We want to dispel that myth of being good at sales. You're just good at giving people what they need, giving them what they ask for in the right manner. And then,
Right. Now,
yeah, thank you for everything you're doing. And I love the community you're working with. I meet a lot of 40 plus that have not, done life insurance, looked at retirement income for things. So I'm glad that you and I talk about that, just because that's something a lot of 40 plusers think. Don't get life insurance until you're 50, which is not always the best strategy. And then also people think they can't get it once they're past 50. So
I
I'm
have
glad
one
you're
more
working on
point.
this.
Can I squeeze it in there? I have one more point to say before we
Oh,
go
go for it. Go
today.
for it.
I need everyone listening to the sound of my voice today, especially in the African American community. I love all communities. But one of the things that I'm very passionate about, and I align with you, Daryl, is we need to help the 40 plus community understand the importance of getting out of debt. Infrared Vision just added a service to talk about that, about mindset and money. The reason why I'm so passionate about it because I never took it very seriously before 5 years ago. And 5 years ago, I was in $50,000 worth of debt, trying to save for retirement, trying to pay the bills. And I'm happy to tell you, when I worked with my own mindset and my own around money, that at the end of this year, I will be 100% debt free. Do you know the options that that's going to give you to be able to create a lifestyle that you want when you don't have any money going towards that debt? And I
Mm-hmm.
align with you, Daryl, because once you get that moved out the way, no matter what your job is, whether you're working a job, entrepreneur, whatever the case may be, when you move that piece out its way, you have options to save for retirement, live a lifestyle that you so want. And you don't even have to be a millionaire to do it. Just do it.
Right.
Just do it because it's going to keep you at a level that is pressed down and not able to shake things up for yourself. So I just really want to point that out today before we go because I'm very passionate about that as well.
You got a lot of reactions for that. We got thumbs and hearts and hand claps all over the place. So definitely people agree with that. I wish you could see it here on this, but on the LinkedIn Live, we can see it. But Misha, I appreciate you hanging out with me here to talk about this. Please, folks, make sure you check out the website. The event page I put back up again, infraredvision.org/events is the event page. Check out the website. It's well done. And Misha's always speaking about helping the 40 plus community. So whether you are 40, you're in the 50s, 60s, 70s, even like your client you mentioned, come check it out. And this is especially important right now because, half the year will be gone July 1st. That'll be half of 2021 is gone as of July 1st. So think about that when you're looking at your goals and your mindset. Think about, am I where I said I would be at this point? And that's a good reflection point for me in the summer is to look at, is my business where I thought it would be at this point, COVID or not? You still got to think about, am I where I thought I would be? Misha, anywhere else people can check you out besides on your website and on LinkedIn?
You can reach out to me. I'm available at 240-758-1059. And I just wanted everyone to really just sit down this evening. Ask yourself, am I existing or am I living? Do you need help on redefining, rebuilding, restoring yourself? There's nothing wrong with looking at yourself and evaluating yourself, not against somebody else, just to make you happy. I want to see more smiles. I want to see people celebrate their lives. I just want to see happiness come forth because when you have happiness before you, nothing, nothing, Daryl, could be able to hold you back. All right.
So let's make sure we're all living instead of existing, folks. So we will catch you next time on on this outro. Make sure you just share the video with anybody who needs to hear this. Tag a friend, message it to them if they need to hear this conversation from each. We'll catch you next time. I appreciate you, Queen.
All right, now take care.